Good morning, friends. It is the top of the hour. Welcome to the week of January the 27th, and welcome back to our latest session of Leaders Weekly. It's our weekly conversation about real estate sales and your success. I'm Chris McGatt. I am the other Chris, and I head up the coaching division right here at Leaders Edge. Oh my gosh, we have got a great show in store for you today. And of course, we do have that live Q&A coming up at the bottom of the hour. Now, every week, we curate the content and stream live to make sure that we're bringing you topics that are not only timely, but also relevant for your business. As you know, each week we focus on one of four different areas. It's either going to be lead generation to help you grow your client base, sales skills to close more deals, inspiration to stay motivated and focused, or it's going to be about business structure, looking at ways of being able to work more effectively and more efficiently in order to reach your goals. So let's get on to today's topic, dominating your market with Colton Howard's expert marketing tips. Oh my gosh, I love these. Listen, this is the perfect time of year to take a fresh look at your marketing presence. If you're ready to move your business to the next higher level, then you have come to the right session. This session today is we're going to be joined by, quite frankly, a marketing guru, Colton Howard, as we explore innovative strategies on how to excel in digital and in email marketing, as well as some great tips on how to get the most out of your website. The conversation is designed to help you drive more engagement and attract new clients. So whether you're new to the business or a seasoned professional, you'll be able to implement these ideas immediately to improve your income, but also to improve the quality of your life. Now, as usual, we're going to be leaving time at the end of the session for individual questions. So tee those questions up right now. Take full advantage of that. Now, listen, as we always say every week, there is no need to take notes or risk getting distracted. Just hit this QR code right now. Use your phone, or you can simply go to leadersweekly.com. This way you can actually download those highlights of today's session. So listen, even if you're joining us from an office watch party and your manager or maybe your LO is providing the subscription, you can easily and quickly open a non-subscriber members account at leadersweekly.com just to access the highlights. But yes, you did guess it. No subscription, no access to the recordings. Just a heads up, the non-subscriber member account function is limited to just downloading the highlights. Now, Chris Leader is on a plane today, flying across Canada somewhere, and he sends his very, very best. And now, of course, he'll be back with us next week for the much-awaited 30 Under 30 national panel that's going on next week on the 3rd. So look forward to that. So listen, let's get on to today's session. Recognized by CIO Review as a top 10 Google marketing expert in 2023, Colton Howard, the founder and CEO of Power Marketing Company, a full-scale digital marketing agency based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, specializes in supporting individual real estate agents as well as Fortune 100 enterprises. Not only with their digital marketing solutions, but helping them out in so many ways, helping them grow their business and enhance client engagement. Colton has spearheaded tens of thousands of high-performing social and search advertising campaigns that deliver measurable growth. His expertise is rooted in paid advertising and data-driven strategies. His philosophy is actually quite simple. Modern marketing success depends on turning data into actionable insights. By leveraging performance metrics and attribution, Colton can ensure that every campaign and project is tied to tangible business outcomes. For him, it is all about providing impact and scalable results and maximizing your financial return. Now, passionate about helping businesses thrive in today's fast-evolving digital landscape, Colton leads with integrity, data, and a relentless focus on delivering value. Colton, it is so great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today, breaking away from your usual busy day and sharing some insights with all of us in our businesses. So thank you. How's Pittsburgh? Is it getting warm? Is it warming up there?
It is definitely not warm, Chris, but yeah, thank you very much for the time and yeah, for bringing me on board today. Super excited to talk about the marketing tips. But yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh knows warm until we get to the summer months. This is the first couple days I haven't had to pull out a shovel just yet, though, so that's a win in our book. So
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, when you're not busy helping companies and agents with their marketing strategies, what are you doing for fun?
That's a good question, and it ties well to weather because I'm a big sports guy and very active. So golf is my passion. Outside of work, that's usually what I'm doing. So nowadays, I got to wait till the snow dries up. But beyond that, big baseball and football fan. I'm black and gold through full way through with what we are here in Pittsburgh and passionate about. So that's usually where my passions lie.
You got a great town there for sports, no doubt about that. We got to get you down to Florida here and enjoy some of the golf during your off season, as we say. Now listen, Colton. This topic about digital marketing, this topic about social, topic about websites and email marketing. It is a hot topic for real estate
Mhm.
agents, obviously, because every day we're having to fine tune our approach. We're having to understand what changes are happening. So thank you again for being a part today. And I'm going to get out of your way and let's just get rolling on today's topic. I'm looking forward to learning a bunch.
Awesome. Yeah, this sounds great to me. I think you alluded to it well as it relates to the seasonality, timeliness of it all too. This is the perfect time to be kind of game planning ahead of the busy season of real estate when it all rolls around, and make sure that your marketing objectives and initiatives are really kind of optimized prior to that point. So I hope today, as I kind of walk through my expert tips and tricks, there's a lot of nuggets that you'll be able to take back and apply to your own businesses. So as you'll see me kind of progress through this deck and this dialogue, my goal is to kind of show it as a progression. For those that are just starting out, we'll talk about kind of the do's and don'ts from the beginning and then work our way to very granular in the weeds tactics that I am very confident can work for agents and teams and brokerages of any size. And we've seen it work, frankly, with the clients that we service on a day-to-day basis. But at the beginning, when you're first starting out, it really kind of boils down to three key elements that I've seen firsthand. If businesses or agents don't have these kind of prioritized from day one, it's a lot harder to catch up as you continue to grow and as you have to deal with a whole lot of other aspects of the business. Marketing then becomes just one other hat added on to the whole spectrum of it all. So those three key elements you'll see outlined here are first, creating pages and presences on all social platforms and making them consistent. When you're first starting off your business as an agent or as a team, you want to make sure that you obtain all the handles and all the pages, and those are consistent across the board. So it's very easy for consumers to find you on any page, any platform now or in the future. Launching a website for yourself, starting from day one, and focusing on kind of performance first and foremost. I know when I and other experts in the marketing space say launch a website, your mind may go to, oh, this is a very big technical lift or something that I need to work with experts and pay thousands of dollars to accomplish. And I'm here to tell you, frankly, it's not. What you need to do is to build a site that has a nice aesthetic, is easy to digest the information, make people eager, want to learn more about you, and spend more time on the site, obviously, but then also is very high performing as it relates to load times. And there's not a whole lot of things that'll slow the user down there from navigating through and accomplishing what they're there for, which is obviously to learn more about you as an agent or a broker owner or a team, and then ultimately work with you. And then finally, and this is a big one that we'll kind of touch on in the coming slides, is building a solid foundation for your CRM from day one. I'll talk about tactics here in the next two slides, but I can't emphasize enough how we've seen agents and businesses that set up their CRM for success from day one. When they scale and when they have thousands and thousands of contacts coming in, they're already optimized and ready to scale and in an easy and convenient fashion. So laying the foundation, laying the groundwork from day one to be able to enable that long term makes life a whole lot easier and makes business a whole lot quicker to scale as well. So to break down really, because I don't want to kind of get too technical and too nerdy as it relates to a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here, want to make sure that we're defining along as we go. A CRM, for those of you that don't know, is a customer relationship management tool. Basically, think of this as kind of your digital framework or backbone of the business as it relates to all business activity and all kind of client activity, in whatever way that you want to shape that. These platforms nowadays are so flexible, and so convenient to use that really you can customize them for wherever you are at in the stage of your business. And again, kind of highlighting that key element of building a solid foundation of this, customizing that based on your model, based on what you want to accomplish with your business, will lead you to long lasting success. So when I talk about kind of customizing that and what that would look like, it really comes down to being able to build out a quick glance dashboard of understanding your sales cycle. You as an agent, you as a broker owner, a team, you should be able to pull up your CRM and instantly have an understanding of, hey, here's how many prospects I have. Here's how many warm leads I have. Here's how many closings I have in any time frame and duration that you see fit. Again, nowadays all these platforms that you're going to utilize can build that out and accomplish that in a very convenient fashion. So that should be kind of priority from day one. As me as an agent, I want to log into this platform and see where the heck my business stands. And then to take that a step further is then you get a little bit more granular. Then you start thinking about, well, hey, what are the different facets of my business that I need to label or categorize to make sure that I am in the weeds of knowing my numbers and knowing kind of where things stand in my sales cycle that could lead me to make better decisions as an agent, better decisions as an owner down the road. So that could be what we kind of call labels or tags, if you will. And again, all these platforms are different. They may label it a different way, but more often than not, with the ones that we've utilized, tags is kind of a consistent naming convention for that. So you may tag your clients that come through as buyers versus sellers or hot leads versus cold leads. You may rate your clients and rate your leads on a 1 to 5 star scale of how viable they are to bring back repeat business, or maybe they were just looky-loos that were a waste of time and you want to make sure you don't kind of reconvene with them again or waste any more time there. Additionally, you could kind of go with in-market versus out-of-market labels and tags. Again, it's differentiations so that as your contacts funnel in, you can take a look at them and ultimately see where they would fall in those categories. So if you kind of caught it in the last slide, that was a live look at one of the CRMs of the clients that we work with and some tags that we've applied to them. And that, again, just gives us a granular breakdown of where they would fall in our areas of the sales cycle, as well as where we kind of want to remarket to them or reach back out and get back involved based off if they're a high quality lead, if we've sold to them more frequently, if we know that in the sales cycle of purchasing a home, let's say, they may be interested in moving sooner rather than later. The more defined that you get with your contact base, the better off you'll be able to kind of create that remarketing and create that reoccurring business. And that's exactly what we're going to highlight here. So all in all, as you kind of utilize your CRM to analyze it from a business perspective and allow that to be a guide and a dashboard for your business objectives overall, the other flip side of what you're doing is being able to really know your numbers, really know your data, really know your clients well, that you can remarket to them however you see fit down the road. A lot of these platforms nowadays have text and email capabilities as well, so that not only can you say, hey, I worked with John Doe in 2015, they may be interested in buying a home sooner rather than later, I should probably reach back out to them with a text or an email, just a touch point, however you see fit, as casual or as aggressive as you'd like to be as an agent or a broker owner. So by staying on top of that foundation and building out that database in a strong forum, you're giving yourself a better, more accurate possibility to succeed in these reoccurring marketing opportunities, however you see fit in the future. And as it relates to conducting that business, like it's data proven that the more somebody knows your brand, the more they've interacted with your business, the better off you'll have a chance to convert them from lead to sale. Nowadays, the data is coming back that it's kind of the rule of 7 or 7 touch points that an individual or a consumer needs to interact with a brand to ultimately convert them into a buyer in whatever fashion they may be. Real estate's kind of moving more and more up that ladder of more touch points and a higher frequency, because obviously it's a highly competitive space and there's more and more content out there, which we'll get into a ton as it relates to the later slides. But all in all, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best possibility. And to accomplish that, it's by establishing a CRM and knowing it like the back of your hand to be able to maximize the efforts that you have there. So now let's talk a little bit about kind of these marketing mediums. And you'll see email and SMS marketing, your email and text marketing highlighted here as well. But I want to kind of segue into content creation and ultimately kind of understanding these platforms and how they might be a benefit to you. So a lot of you guys may have great presences on here already, and that's fantastic. But I can tell you with how often these channels are evolving, you can always do more. And there's always new tips and tricks and trends that are evolving with all these marketing mediums, that the more you stay on top of it, the more it'll be your benefit. So us and our team at the agency like to call kind of the core 4 social channels of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube being the key drivers nowadays. LinkedIn for real estate could be a little bit of a lackluster one there because it's such a B2B focus. But I would tell you kind of Facebook and Instagram are the bread and butter there. Facebook, you're actively reaching kind of today's homeowners and today's buyers and the active generation. And we like to call Instagram the next generation of consumers. So you should be prioritizing that as it relates to the phases of your business moving forward as much or even more so as you do for some of these other channels. YouTube's fantastic. It's going to be a key player for years to come, but you have to be kind of video savvy there and kind of be willing to be in front of the camera, if you will, or create video content specifically, with that being the dominant platform in that video space. So it's a little bit of a nuance there, but nonetheless, I would not tell you to kind of dial back the prioritization if you're eager and willing to go down that path. As we kind of work through the rest of those bullets, online communities and groups and Google business profiles are hyper-local channels. We'll kind of break that down here in the coming slides, but those are great ways to get directly in front of your local demographic, especially when you're first starting out, looking to kind of just make a name for yourself or break into the local market around you. Online groups and then Google My Business can be a great driver in order to accomplish that. Talked about email and text marketing. And then for my writers out there that really like to create longer form content, blogging is a great way to accomplish that. And we'll kind of break down how that relates to search engine optimization, or SEO, if you've heard of that as well, and how that can be a lead driver. Now, with all of you guys out there, you probably noticed that I did not touch on TikTok. And for anybody that's staying in top of the news, obviously, it's a little bit of a sensitive time there. I'm not sure where that's going to net out. I will tell you just in a blanket statement, even if TikTok comes back roaring, it's a great platform to be on. It's the number one platform to drive viral moments, if you will, or really reach the masses organically, as we call it, without any kind of paid money behind it, in a better fashion than any of the channels that you see here. But you have to be very, what I call kind of TikTok centric to accomplish it. You cannot take a post that you'd craft for Instagram or Facebook and just publish it on TikTok and expect it to go viral. You have to play into music. You have to play into the trends. You have to play into kind of what the kids are doing nowadays, to say. And that's kind of molded more for personality than it is for professionals and the masses, which is why it's not highlighted here. And I'd only to be honest, recommend it to individuals that really want to go after it, are eager, and want to be proactive as it relates to that content strategy. So to talk about some of those hyper-local mediums of the groups in Google My Business. So Google My Business is basically kind of like a business page or business profile that renders on Google as it pertains to local market areas. So you basically fill out a Google My Business profile for your business as an agent or as a team or brokerage. And then whenever you are searched for in the local area, you can see kind of a profile populate. So a great driver for this is like obtaining Google reviews and getting customer testimonials where they'll leave a Google review on your behalf. And that will kind of be a really good provider validator for your business, if you will, to help you as it relates to search engine optimization and being able to find as consumers are looking for search capabilities. And all of that Google My Business efforts are completely free. So it's a great kind of community resource, again, to tap into and set up without feeling like you have to break the bank or put any kind of expense into it. Facebook groups is another way. I know for us here in Pittsburgh, there's a ton of local community groups where there's a lot of homeowners that are kind of living and breathing the recommendations there. And it's very easy to. They're peers that live next door to you and have been there for a while, that they can be kind of positioned as experts of what's going on in the local area. And you, as a real estate agent, want to make sure that you kind of get tied in there and can be viewed in a similar fashion. And that's a great way to get involved. The one caveat I would say there, and a lot of you have probably experienced this too, is Facebook groups are very difficult to be salesy with or to solicit business with. So making sure that you get naturally involved and naturally kind of expand your brand and connect with others is going to be your kind of best leader for success there, while still tapping into the local community. From a blog side and SEO, you'll see me kind of call this out directly from the bullet here on stage one, is that SEO is more of kind of a sexy buzzword than it is as a business driver for real estate agents. But for all of you guys first starting off a business, you want to make sure you're at least understanding of what it is. And what that is basically Google's way of ranking you as a real estate agent, a team, or brokerage in your local area. And one way to accomplish that is by publishing blog articles and positioning yourself as a subject matter expert in that space. So say I was an agent in the Pittsburgh area, and maybe maybe I write a blog article about the top 5 tips for home buyers in the greater Pittsburgh area and publish that. That would be a good way for me to kind of promote that article and position myself for consumers out there. But then Google also reads that and sees kind of the keywords of me tapping into being an agent and being tied locally in the greater Pittsburgh area, and will rise me up the rankings because of that. So that's kind of how that works. But again, you have to be kind of a savvy writer and willing and able to kind of produce that longer form content in order to help it kind of actually move the needle forward for you. One worthwhile tactic I'd say, though, is as you create that longer form content, you can really cut it down into snippets and utilize that across other channels to act as a driver in more ways than one. Basically kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll take a longer form blog article, maybe just a paragraph or a sentence or 2 off that, and repurpose it as a pretty dang good Facebook post as well, because Facebook's more concise and better suited for that. So that gives you a little bit of the best of both worlds there. So now when we're talking about content from a social media perspective or anything outside of kind of those 2 unique channels of the hyper-local communities as well as SEO, right now it is a battle for attention. Everybody is trying to produce and publish content that it's about what's going to make you stand out and what's going to ultimately give you a leg up as it relates to your competitors, as it relates to the peers and people that you're working with that you're vying for the same local business for. So what the biggest recommendation I'd make to you is it's about a consistent cadence of content. It's the more the merrier when it comes to content. Nowadays, with everybody publishing social content, it's really not about you ever running out or hitting a threshold where you become a little bit too overboard. It's about consistent cadence of authentic and professional content that will allow you to get your brand seen as frequently as possible and kind of win that battle against other competitors. It's definitely could be described as a slow burn. We'll talk about advertising a little bit and some paid strategies that create a spike or a jump in business. But when you're doing what, again, we call organic efforts, like in this manner, it's really just about a consistent cadence day after day, week after week, month after month, that'll lead you to longer lasting and longer term success. When we talk about what content strategies there can set you apart, again, yes, I say it's more the merrier, and yes, I say post as frequently as you can, but you don't want to just be throwing anything out there and expecting something to stick. There are very specific strategies and efforts that we are seeing on a day-to-day basis as well work well for our clients that I could kind of lead you to and kind of describe here. So we want an active mix. We don't want all just kind of client testimonials or all exterior photos of your best properties and think that's what your entire Facebook feed or your Instagram posts are going to be. It's about mixing that in with ideas like listing photos or open house promotions, maybe branded assets about information, who you are as an agent, get a little bit into the backstory aspect. Humanize yourself, personalize it with family photos or personal stories about you as a buyer in instances when you purchased your first home and how that led you to ultimately have a passion for helping others. Whatever that may be, whatever is authentic and natural to you is going to be the best driver, because authenticity is wins. And you'll hear me say that multiple times across this. Beyond kind of the day-to-day efforts there, some like phase 2 creativity or other ideas that we've seen work is client testimonials, or nowadays capturing a selfie video on your phone talking about a property or a business method has really boded well to speak again to that authenticity and humanizing yourself as a professional. Curating local content and positioning yourself as it relates to local trends and being a market expert there. All of these things, again, here's 8 different bullets that when you compile it all, take tidbits and nuggets of what makes sense to you, you can build a really diverse and robust mix of day-to-day, week-to-week posts that can set you ahead and pave a path forward for success. I want to kind of take this even a step further and give you other tactics and findings that we have. And what I tell you up front is nowadays video is king. And you've probably heard others say this. And we have kind of data backing of testing video assets versus static photos or regular photos and how they're performing against one another. And video is winning majority of the time across multiple markets. So the more opportunity you can to, hey, instead of taking an exterior photo of this property, I'm going to take a little bit of a video, maybe a panoramic around the property itself. And just by doing that little extra work and making it a video file, it will lead to longer lasting success. Another kind of interesting tactic is giveaways. So we've had agents that will partner up with local mom and pop restaurants and say, hey, if you comment back on this post or like this post, we're giving away 3 $25 gift cards to the mom and pop pizza shop in Pittsburgh. And collaborations like that with other agents or other businesses out there locally to, again, position yourself as a go-to expert and professional in the whatever market you're working with, but also kind of reaping the benefits of the audiences that maybe that restaurant grew or maybe a different agent grew that you can collaborate with. Some viral trends and some meme content are always fun to mix in, but that's kind of based off of your own personal humor and what you would want to actively kind of portray in your mix. But again, piggybacking off anything that's timely and anything that a lot of people, the viral aspects of it all, so to speak, a lot of people are showing interest with, that can really bode well for you and take it up to another level. And again, just add as another notch in the diverse mix belt that you're kind of wearing and want to produce on a day-to-day basis for your pages. So when it comes to actually making content, I'm giving a whole lot of ideas, but you may be asking yourself, like, I don't have time to do this, or this is way out of my wheelhouse. Like, there's people that are content creators and I'm not one of them. And I completely understand. And that's why I circle back to saying it has to be what's natural for you, and it has to be what can kind of be authentic in your day-to-day business. But what I would tell you up front is the data is showing that iPhone photos and iPhone videos are performing better than commercial like productions and other really kind of professionally shot efforts. You don't have to be a professional videographer or photographer to ultimately win there. And then another topic that we'll get into here, and I could probably give you a whole presentation on, is artificial intelligence with content creation. And I'm sure a lot of you out there have dabbled in this. A lot of you have seen how efficient and effective this can be. And there are a ton of free tools in this regard that you can really take advantage of that will help you across all marketing mediums, from creating a Facebook post to making an Instagram post graphic recommendation to crafting an entire email blast to send out to your contact base. And AI can be kind of a core driver in that. So when I say that, to give you, again, some granular insights and tips into how to maximize the use of AI, there's platforms out there like ChatGPT or Gemini that are free to use and have free versions and are very easy and extremely powerful. Here you'll see an exact kind of prompt that I plugged in as it relates to my local market here, which is telling ChatGPT, hey, I'm a real estate agent in the greater Pittsburgh area. Give me 10 Facebook post concepts that, based off of the active data and active performance out there on Facebook today for real estate agents, that would be very engaging and enticing posts. So you can prompt the AI solution to ultimately be your content strategist. Then it will churn back actual post concepts to be your copywriter or your captionist, as however you want to word it, and then organize that diverse mix or that diverse calendar that over time you have 10, 20, 30 posts that are very unique, but also very enticing, engaging, and backed by data that AI and this tech is able to provide you with. So ultimately, after taking that prompt, here are 6 live examples that this immediately came back with in the time span of, let's say, 10 to 15 seconds, giving me a multitude of very good post concepts that I deemed, for me as Colton Howard, the real estate agent, would be able to produce and piggyback off of. And again, you can do this and get 10, 20, 30 ideas, ultimately land on 5, 6, however many are right and feel strong for you, and then pursue those as an agent. But here you'll see a ton of really good ideas. And they're not copy and paste things. They're not things that you can just run with and immediately post. You have to put your own spin on it, or you have to add kind of your 2 cents that will differentiate yourself from others that are doing these same exact tactics and these same exact efforts. But then that also gives you a really good opportunity to be authentic, make it very personal to you, and ultimately kind of just validate yourself as a unique individual with unique opinions based off of these prompts. You don't have to do the creative strategy behind it anymore and sit there and jot down ideas day in and day out. Let this be your guide. And then ultimately, like for me personally, I could read these 6 ideas and it may spark 2, 3, 4 others on top of it that it didn't recommend that I'd be able to work and weave into my mix as well. So take advantage of the efficiencies and know that it can bring you really good effectiveness based on those trends that we're talking about and we're seeing work day to day, of the consistent cadence of content and making everything authentic to you once you put your personal touch on it. So outside of talking about kind of the day-to-day posting, and again, I've highlighted organic efforts or non-paid efforts from social media, email marketing, everything kind of as it relates to these mediums. There's other strategies like boosting or digital advertising, where you can put some ad dollars and some money behind these posts and really help achieve that quick and fast-tracking spike of performance. So boosting works on Meta a lot and on Facebook and Instagram, where you can kind of take one of your best performing social posts, let's say, hit boost and create kind of a target demographic or audience that you want to go after and place that social graphic or that social post across their feed. So for example, maybe it's a local open house that you have this upcoming weekend and you really want to get a lot of eyeballs on it. You want to get a lot of foot traffic into the door. And the organic effort that you posted on Facebook to promote that open house will reach your followers and reach those that your followers share it with of their audience. But boosting is you could go after property finders in the local Pittsburgh area, people that have spent time on Zillow in the local Pittsburgh area, and put that open house promotion directly on their feed. And I say all of this, and it sounds very tech savvy and it sounds very enticing of what it can accomplish. You can do it for as little as $1 a day. You can put $1 behind it and have it really kind of catapult your reach and catapult the number of impressions and eyeballs you get on those posts in a dramatic fashion. I mean, hey, look at it in the sense of what these social platforms, what they do. They want to take your money. They want to take anything that you would give them in order to amplify that success, and they reward those that do. So boosting is a great and easy way to accomplish that. I've had a ton of agents that have learned how to execute a boost or two and be able to run with it with ease, that you don't have to be fearful or scared that it's too technical of an endeavor for you. Digital advertising is kind of that effort on steroids. It is more technical. I would recommend kind of seeking out the guidance of experts to accomplish that, but know that there's other capabilities beyond just boosting where you can really reach your target market, your target demographic, place your ads in front of them, and ultimately have them really kind of garner traction and return an ROI. So with all that being said, if there's 3 key elements that I want to leave you guys with as it relates to the best tips and tricks for moving forward with marketing, the first one is let data be your driver. You've heard me talk about data a lot throughout this, and these platforms nowadays are so robust that they all provide you with their own native reporting dashboards or analytics and performing metrics on every aspect of your posts and content. So you can create 5 posts across the month of February, put all them out there and see which one of posts 1 through 5 perform the best, and then piggyback off those trends. See where in your local market or with your followers, what's resonating the most with them, and allow data to be your driver. So no longer do you have to put a billboard out there or hang a sign and wonder how many eyeballs are being seen by it, or is it garnering traction in any kind of significant capacity. Now these platforms will actually report that back to you, and as an individual agent manning one Instagram account, you can see all of your data and performance metrics post by post, week over week, month over month, and let those be a key driver. Secondarily is I do want to highlight that it's not all about budget. I just gave a presentation on the similar topic last week, and this was the slide that kind of resonated the most with that audience. And it's because nowadays I know you guys are constantly being preached of, hey, spend thousands of dollars with me and I'll generate leads. Or if you just put $100 into this platform, it'll return X. And some of that stuff's true. Some of that stuff's great working with, but you can still find a ton of success, build a brand and build a business without breaking the bank. And it's very similar to what I just described from the data side of things. You want to make sure that you test. And then once you find that secret recipe of success that works for you in your local market with your desired target audience, then you attack. And then you start putting money behind it, or then you start taking it to new heights and new levels and piggybacking off those trends. But you do not have to invest or feel hyper committed until you feel overly confident that your marketing strategy works. And that's thankful to how flexible and powerful these platforms are. And knowing that, again, you don't have to break the bank in order to reap the successes of what they have to offer. And then finally, as I've highlighted multiple times, you have to be authentic and you have to be you. I'm very pro AI, as you've heard me say multiple times throughout this. And you need AI in order to thrive as a marketer and thrive in content creation moving forward because of how efficient it is. But at the end of the day, consumers are going to interact and engage with content that is authentic and personal, more so than just content to be content or what AI is recommending. If you're just a copy and paster and you take what ChatGPT or Gemini spits back to you and run with it, sure, you may get somewhere, but you're not going to get as far as the person that is a little bit more methodical with it, a little bit more thought provoking, and make sure that it personally relates to them. Ultimately, you're in a people business. You guys know that when working in real estate. And the best way to connect with those individuals is to make sure your content, what you do, and market yourself on a day to day basis is personal as well. The final thing to get my last kind of nerdy little tidbit in is algorithms and consumers alike reward uniqueness. So again, these social platforms want you to spend time on their platform. They're going to reward the accounts and the pages and the people that get consumers to spend the most time looking at their content. That's not going to be just copy and paste AI efforts. That's going to be authentic and making sure that you take the time and you're very thoughtful with it. And then the social platforms will reward you with it as well. So with all that being said, here's some personal information with me. I know we're getting to the Q&A section where you can learn a little bit more about me and who we are at Power and kind of our extensive real estate experience there. But never hesitate to reach out, even for agents that just have questions or ideas that they want to bounce off me. I always love welcoming those and would be happy to help anybody that I can. So my information is there. Never hesitate to reach out with any questions or concerns or any way that I can help out along the way.
Colton, thank you. Oh my gosh. I have filled up pages and pages taking notes of all this stuff. I love some of the things that you said. You talk about, the fact that authenticity wins the prize, right? I think that is something that we've all got to keep in mind. And yes, we all know that real estate is ultimately a relationship business. It's always been a relationship business. It will always be a relationship business, but it's being able to combine the technology that's available to us with authenticity in a way that makes us more efficient, makes us more effective. You also made a comment that I'm going to double down on, which was let data be your driver. Like, I really like that, because I think many of us in this industry are emotional, right? We are enthusiastic. We're emotional. We make emotional decisions. And I think every time that we can step back to what is the data saying, take that brief moment, right? And then be able to breathe through it and then double down on the things that are statistically data-driven working. Oh my gosh, way better alternative, obviously. So
100%.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, to touch on that too, Chris, is I think emotion driving content and touching on that is great. Again, it speaks to the authenticity, the personal aspect. I hope agents out there have these they're great ideas they're passionate about, and you can put it out there and allow the data to come back and validate for you if it works or not, and test that in a very convenient fashion without having to put money behind it, and let this data come back to validate, yes, my idea was good. Let's do 10 more of these, or you know what, I was out of my mind in that instance and it's probably a time waster. And then you pivot to a different direction.
Right. Oh my gosh. We've got a ton of questions. We're going to get to those in a quick second. Tina, thank you. Elizabeth, thank you. Amanda, thank you. But first, listen, Chris and I every week strive to make sure we're bringing you content that is relevant, that is meaningful for your business. Please take a moment, complete this poll. Let us know if we're hitting the spot with today's session. We just need the feedback to make sure that we are steering in the right direction. So this is the data that we're looking for. So let us know how we did today on the topic, the content, and then I also want to double down on something as well, which is, I think for a lot of us, we need that constant ability to be able to have someone to reinforce what we're doing, help us stay on track, give us guidance, give us support. For many of you, you're inquiring about what does it mean to be in a coaching relationship, whether that's Jumpstart for a month, whether it's traditional one-on-one coaching. My recommendation is hit that QR code at the bottom, schedule some time, have a real live conversation with a real live coach. Find out if coaching will be meaningful for you and your business. It's not a sales pitch. It's not a sales call. It's really an information opportunity for you to get more information. Hit that QR code at the bottom and you'll connect with one of our coaches and have a conversation about your business. And with that said, let's dive into the Q&A, because this is where so many of the great ideas come. And Colton, we got a bunch of folks that have chimed in here. Tina asks, does it hurt or help to use AI for blog writing? You talked a bit about the idea of creating posts using AI as the structure. How about the blog?
It's a great question, Tina. And my short answer would be yes. Ways that we've seen really work well is to not only let it create blog writing for you and be efficient there, but also let it generate topics that are like very keyword rich and drivers in your local area. So again, for a lot of data that's out there, blogging in the Pittsburgh area is going to be drastically different of the topics than blogging in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, where the market's going to be completely different. So being able to use AI to piggyback off those trends and then make life easier of actually writing the content is one less hat off your plate, and you can feel confident in what the subject matter is. I would still put a personal spin on it. I wouldn't just, hey, here's the AI driven or the AI writing blog article the whole way through, copy and then publish that on site. Any ways that you can personalize it will elevate it even further, but nonetheless, I would definitely tap into it.
Yeah, it makes good sense. I'm going to stay on that topic of blogs. Elizabeth from Boulder. Hey, Elizabeth, say hi to Boulder for me. She asks, where would you recommend posting the longer form content to increase SEO, search engine optimization?
So the best bet's going to be your website. So typical website builders, whether you're using Wix or WordPress or a lot of the ones that I know brokerages are offering nowadays, they have blog and article capabilities. So the best definition I'd give you is you want as many eyeballs and as much traffic going to your website as possible, because in the eyes of Google and in the eyes of these search indexes, you're going to rank higher the more they can validate your business. For a business that may have 10 website visitors on a month versus 10,000, Google's going to say, hey, these guys with 10,000 know what they're doing. They're probably a little bit more of an expert than the 10 guys that we're going to push more people their way. We're going to rank them higher on local search indexes. So all these blog articles and any content you can publish there, making sure it's under the umbrella of your website is usually the best bet. We have had people that have successes with like third-party newsletter concepts like Substack and looking for other alternatives there, which are great. And you can create kind of communities that way. But personally, I'm a huge fan of making sure that you reap the benefits for yourself and for your own business, and under your website's the best way to do that.
That makes really good sense. I'm going to combine a couple of different questions here regarding the blog and how to best utilize that. And you mentioned, you kind of hinted at this, which is most of us in the industry do not have custom curated websites. We have a website that's either, like you said, based on Wix or WordPress, or it's provided by your broker, and it's a format you can use. And you're right, there's that functionality for a blog or a newsletter built right into that. But I think by what I'm reading here of these questions is that is a daunting leap for a lot of agents, right? This idea of, oh gosh, once I activate this blog functionality of my site, now I'm held hostage. Now I'm committed. I got to keep updating it. Is there an easy way to be able to be consistent, relevant, authentic without spending hours and hours of time on this?
It's a great question. And I'm going to answer it in kind of a roundabout way. Is first, I would nip the fear in the bud of saying that you don't have to be hyper consistent with blog posting to really reap the benefits. I've seen people have success with one article a month, honestly, and being able to just allocate a little bit amount of time to accomplish that. I would recommend shying away from, hey, I'm going to do 4 articles in February, but then I don't post anything else until 2026. And extended periods of time there are not going to be ideal for you. But tapping into AI and kind of game planning as best you can should alleviate those fears and also give you enough to kind of schedule out in advance that you can have success with it. The number one recommendation I'd say is, like, I personally get into modes where I'm ready to write, but then 90% of my day, I want nothing to do with it. So the 10%, when I'm in that mode and ready to go, churn out as many articles as you can, get as much content as you can, and maybe get like 5 to 10 posts ready to roll, and then schedule out whatever cadence you see fit, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, and just all these blog functionalities. Typically on any sort of platforms, there are scheduling capabilities to where if I write an article tomorrow, I may not schedule it to go out until March, and that's perfectly okay. Have it kind of weave in and set yourself up for success, and then hopefully by now until March, I'll be ready to write again and prep myself for success down the road. So
I promise we're going to get away from blogs here in a second, but there are a couple of questions that are popping up right now. One is, does the blog have to be long? I think there is some concern here that it's got to be really long, which takes a lot of time, really thoughtful. What are your thoughts on the length of a blog and with it still being meaningful?
It's a great question. And blunt answer again is no. It does not have to be long. I'm sure there's probably a lot of you out there that are reading articles and even kind of like news outlet articles nowadays that are much shorter than they were 5, 10 years ago. The recommendation I make is you don't want it to be as long as what a Facebook post would be, basically, or a LinkedIn post. Just think of those as your more shorter form outlets. And
Yeah.
maybe that's 1 to 3 paragraphs maximum. And maybe your blog article is 3 to 5 paragraphs if you want to be on that shorter side, or anything over 3 paragraphs will suffice. I haven't seen any data that dictates whether or not like a certain number of paragraphs or a certain number of words bodes better than others. But you're 100% right. Whoever posed that question, that it does not have to be eons and eons long and something that is basically a mini novel, if you will, just longer form than a typical social post would be.
Okay. And let's just hit a few more of these and we'll move beyond blogs. Chrissy, thanks for your comment. She says, how long would you leave individual blog entries up on your website, i.e., when does it get stale and should it be archived?
I actually would say it doesn't have to be archived unless you are reigniting a blog. So for example, is say you blogged very frequently in 2023 and you're not touching it now until after this conversation. If you post something today, a viewer is going to go on there and they're going to see a 2025 article and then obviously that tremendous gap back to 2023. That's where I may look to archive the past articles. But if you've been consistently churning out content, or you have 2024 ones that flow well into 2025, I think it's personally fine to leave it up there. Again, you're just giving all of these search indexes and your consumers even ways to validate that your business has been in business for a long period of time. You can be deemed an expert because you've been talking about this for a longer period of time. That I think it actually has more pros than cons there, that I wouldn't be worried to scrape it off your site by any means.
Okay, good to know. And follow up from Chrissy here is where did God just oh, there it is. Would you recommend a blog post over sending out a newsletter on a website? Like, is the universe moving from newsletter to blogs as a way of distribution of that information?
Yeah, so Chrissy, I would actually use them to work hand in hand in tandem with one another. Rather than sacrifice one for the other, my recommendation would be to write the newsletter and prioritize the newsletter and copy and paste that as a blog. And then that way you reap a little bit of the longer form content. You can reap kind of the consistent content and keyword focus of just the main frames of your business, if you will. But again, that's kind of like a kill two birds with one stone approach that both are very viable. Email is not going to go away. Newsletters are never going to go away. I actually think they're a little bit on the uptick because people are searching for more authentic and personal content that these newsletters can provide directly to an inbox every day. So I would recommend taking that newsletter content and repurposing it as blog content and not thinking anything of it. It's another tactic to make life easy.
Good idea. That's great. Okay, Amanda. Amanda says, what is the best content and platform to boost? Does Facebook or Instagram have better returns? What content has the highest return? Listings, personal, closings, etc. Thanks, Amanda.
Great question, Amanda. So I would say 9 times out of 10 nowadays, Facebook is going to be more prominent. Where Instagram would win in boosting is when you want to target a younger demographic. So maybe it's a home that's very well suited for a first-time buyer, or it's a townhome per se in a younger community that would bode well for a younger demographic. That's where you could prioritize Instagram and probably see very even splits to what Facebook has to offer. But out of all of the instances and examples that you provided there, Amanda, I would tell you that the performance metrics are going to be stronger on the Facebook side of things. You're just getting a lot more people that are spending time looking for properties and kind of really diving into images and listings, if you will, on Facebook nowadays. And you can feel more confident that that age range is going to be better suited for the buyer demographic that we usually see Facebook win. The one thing I would tell you from a tactic standpoint is you can actually put the power in Facebook's or Meta's hands, I should say, and say, hey, Meta, go after both Facebook and Instagram evenly. And their algorithm will say, hey, Amanda's audience is better suited for Facebook. This property is much better suited for Facebook. We're going to prioritize that. Or if Meta sees the opposite of that, then they'll push it towards Instagram automatically. So you don't have to worry about it. Kind of put the power in the machine's hands and let it go to work.
Excellent. Love that. Okay, here's a question from Laura. I don't even understand the question, so I'm going to throw it to you.
Okay.
It just shows my little bit of limitation here. Laura says, do you have any recommendation for prompt engineering resources?
None that immediately come to mind. So Laura's question here would be as it relates to making sure that the prompts that you put into these AI solutions are best in class, or optimized to actually
Okay.
provide back really good responses. The example I provided of the 10 best posts for
Yeah,
Facebook.
those were good. Yeah.
So I don't have any resources to come to mind, Laura. What one thing I tell you to get very in the weeds of it is you can build out kind of custom AI or GPTs, or you can build custom prompting, if you will. I'll kind of describe this in a layman's terms to where this AI is learning more about your business. You could have a Laura AI chatbot and feed into it all this information about your own business, Laura. And over time, as you use that more and more, the prompting will get stronger and it will benefit your business with more relatable concepts. So that's kind of more of the recommendation I would make is test the waters of different AI tools with the same prompt and see which one you like better. So take the idea that I gave of Pittsburgh and 10 Facebook posts, give it to GPT, give it to Gemini, and see which one cranks out better options, and then maybe lean towards that a little bit further. But then find ways to personalize the AI back to your business. And that's what we found the most success with.
So let me go a little deeper in that question. So if I understand correctly, the idea would be to make sure that the chat, whatever you're using, gets to know you better. So, for example, I could go in that chat bot and I could say, "Hey, I'm X years old. My typical client is this type of demographic. My average sales price is this. My area of town that I specialize in is this. The type of houses I work on are this kind of house." Like you can actually instill all of this information inside of your chat searches so that whenever I ask a question or I prompt it, it's going to take all of that information into consideration every time. I have to do it every single time. Is that right?
That's correct. And the more you use that over time, the more information you feed into it, the better off it will be, the more powerful it become. It can get scary to a sense. And this is a tack that I've done is I record all my client conversations that I have. I can give those audio recordings into GPT and load it in as data and have it crank out content that actually utilizes the words that I use on a day-to-day basis. It was kind of a fun effort to say, hey, what are the most frequently used words I have? And I got a whole bunch of Colton cliches that my clients are probably sick of hearing. But nonetheless, that's exactly right, Chris, is that you can put as much data into this, and that helps from the authenticity and personalization side. As it knows more about you, you're no longer getting the same feedback that any agent in the Pittsburgh or your local market would. You're now getting feedback that pertains to Chris and your business, or Colton, the way that the bot knows how Colton conducts business. So again, that speaks to reaping the benefits of the efficiency, but personalizing it so that it can lead you to longer lasting, more authentic success.
That's right. So the answer is you're getting back from chat or more relevant, more specific, more unique to who you are. Now to do that, if let's say I'm using Open AI, I'm using Chat GPT. With that one, do I need to have a subscription to create those bots, or can I create that little archive, if you will, of me without doing that?
So there's limitations to what the free version can give you. The paid version opens up all the floodgates, gives you as many customizations as you want to build out like a full robust archive. And I believe last time I saw pricing, it was $20 a month for that. But the free version, yeah, it's very inexpensive, and I'll tell you that they've all copy and pasted the same pricing model. So wherever you go, you'll see the same expense month over month from there. But yes, the free version will still give you very powerful capabilities that can map to anything I portrayed in that presentation today as it pertains to content creation.
Okay. Now you live in the space in real estate all the time, from a marketing perspective, and you obviously eat, sleep, and breathe all this technology and stuff. Based on your experience, is there guidance you can give us on? You mentioned Gemini, you mentioned Chat GPT, or what is going to be, from your perspective, the best, most relevant for the real estate industry? Understanding we're trying to create authenticity for a search, for a place to go.
Yeah. So tools wise, I would tell you if I'm making any recommendation, I think ChatGPT is probably the best bet. That's where I found the most success with and the
Okay.
most customization. To take the answer a step further, another key tool I'd recommend for all content creation would be Canva. And that's a graphic design platform for all of you guys that are out there asking, like, how can I create branded graphics? Or I don't want to sit there. I'm not a graphic designer. I've never done it before. I'm right there with you. I can't stand it myself personally, but Canva dumbs it down and makes it so easy to use. And they have a lot of AI infused in their capabilities
Huh.
now that you're able to use AI to create graphics as well that could pertain to any of these captions, pertain to any of these concepts that we're talking about, from blog articles to if you want to add a graphic to your email blast to obviously what you post on Instagram and Facebook and so on and so forth. So with that said, like to bring it down in a blunt fashion, Chris, the recommendation I'd make for any agent out there is with ChatGPT and with Canva as kind of your tool pronged attack there from a content creation standpoint, you really should have all you need to thrive.
Can rule the world. I love that. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to shift gears now. Brandon, you say, I saw LinkedIn as a top social media channel. I have always viewed LinkedIn as a career channel versus a social media channel. What is a successful strategy or social media topic for LinkedIn?
That's a great question, Brent. And I would tell you in real estate, I would agree with your perspective. You're not going to want to post a listing or an open house promotion on LinkedIn and think it's going to garner the same traction that it would on Facebook or Instagram or these other consumer driven platforms. Where you can find success, I would say, is by connecting with other agents, positioning yourself in a way, because LinkedIn has the capabilities of newsletters. It has the capabilities of, or it sides more on the longer form content that can act as, again, another validator for your business and you as an agent. So it's more of a positioning as a subject matter expert than I would tell you it's a lead or a sales driver for the consumer side, like these other social channels. If you were to tell me that you have limited time and you need to prioritize some of these social channels, I would put LinkedIn lower on that totem pole just because of that. But nonetheless, it's not going away. It's a very professional network that, again, it can act as that validator if you can tie some of the blog articles, the news editors, some of this other content you're already crafting, and just repurpose it there.
Good. Sarah, you said, would you be able to share your PowerPoint with us? And Sarah, just so you know, the highlights are available to you. Grab those. If you need more than the highlights, all of Colton's information is included in that as well. You can reach out to him directly for that. Frida, you said my website is designed to request visitors to sign up. Is it better to let them browse as much as they want without signing up? Where do I draw the line? And that's
That's a
Frida.
great question. Yeah, so Rita, that's a great question. I would tell you don't want to gatekeep, as I would call it. You don't want it to be difficult for somebody to enter your site and just learn a little bit about you, but you definitely want opportunities to capture that contact information along the way. So I wouldn't make it restricting that if somebody just types in rita.com that it pops up and says, oh, you got to sign up or you have to commit to something in order to see what's next. I would allow them to kind of browse and work their way through your site, learn more about you and what you're offering, but then have kind of sign up information for newsletters or call to actions that could capture the contact information so you can reach back out to them from a lead or a sales perspective down the road. So to short answer the question is I would not gatekeep it or restrict yourself from being able to have people browse through.
Excellent. I'm going to do a follow up on that. Farida goes on to say, if they don't sign up, my CRM does not capture them. Is there another way to be able to get that information if your CRM isn't connected that way? Or can you give us some insight? Because so much of the value, right, is being able to capture people that go to our social media, that open up our emails, that they're beginning to engage with us, but haven't quite fully committed.
Yeah, so unfortunately, there's no way to say, hey, John Doe came on my site and scrolled through, and now I know all about John Doe. I have all of his information if that individual didn't do anything. But there are ways that you don't have to connect it to your CRM to still capture contact information. A lot of these site builders and in these platforms kind of have like their own back end housing of contact information, if you will, that if John Doe fills out a form of any kind, or if John Doe provides his email as it relates to subscribing to a newsletter or something as subtle as that in just a one-off instance, that would be available to you in one way or another, that then you could kind of manually add it into the CRM however you see fit too. So I wouldn't worry about not having the integration, but at the same time, yeah, you can't just know a one-to-one match of anybody that comes to your site, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point, and that is that baby step, right? How do you get someone to dip their toe in from an engagement perspective? Maybe it's a report that you've written about selling your own home or selling a house in today's market or being a buyer in today's market, and they want a copy of it, and they just give you an email address. You start with the email address and then build from there. But remember, baby steps oftentimes make the big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Colton, where does the time go when we're having fun? Listen, I got a ton more questions here, but I'm going to try and throw a few of them out.
Okay, perfect.
Kathy and Rick, both of you, I think you're both from Arizona. In fact, I know you're both from Arizona. Similar questions. I'm going to give them both to you. Kathy says, how do you drive eyes to your website? And Rick says, what do you think works best for content in a website? They're kind of similar. Take it away quickly.
Yeah, perfect. So first answer I would say is publish your website and your link as frequently as you can across all these channels we're talking about, whether that's from putting in a Facebook post to putting in an email blast and making sure people could click there to go to your site, to having QR codes on flyers or handouts or traditional marketing efforts you and your brokerage might be doing on a day-to-day basis. It's really the more the merrier there, and the more eyeballs you can get, the better. From a content perspective, it's being concise, it's being professional and branded. And again, as Chris described, giving opportunities to capture contact information in more ways than one. Don't just have the standard contact form and think that's going to suffice and help you build out a bunch of bulk leads. Have different opportunities across your site that are easy to navigate to and easy to be engaged with.
Excellent. Well, Colton, I hate to say it, but it's a wrap for today's session. First of all, I want to thank you so much for your time, taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're working with literally hundreds and hundreds of people all the time, but thank you. This was incredibly informative. I have a ton of takeaways myself, and I know based on the comments, on the questions I got, you made a real difference today. So thank you very much. Also, a big thank you to everyone that makes Monday Success Routine part of your schedule. We really appreciate seeing you here. If we didn't get to your question, which I know is the case, you can always send an email to askchris@leccoach.com. We'll get back personally with any answers to any questions that you might have. And remember, we're going to be uploading this session into our platform tomorrow by noon. It'll be there. It'll be there all week long. So I would highly recommend going back through and getting another dose or two of the content that we went over today. And until next week, by the way, next week is our 30 under 30 panel. It's going to be incredible. We've got Caitlin, we've got Lindsay, we've got Curtis on that, talking about how they built their business. These are young, unbelievable professionals that are shaping the industry, what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it. We'll see and learn more next week. In the meantime, stay focused, stay optimistic, and stay committed to ensure that your best years are, in fact, your next years. See you on Monday. Colton, thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody.
Maybe next time you'll hold on to what you have. No, you don't get to show